which has happened mainly coming from.
Good. Annu, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to speak to you today here. Let's talk about Accacia first. What can you tell about your organization that you just founded back in
22. Yeah,
2022?
yeah. Thanks for having me, Gustavo. I'll tell you a bit about my background to begin with. I've spent over 20 years in real estate, and previously founded another company where we were trying to organize the student housing market. I sold that business in 2021 and started Accacia. So it's my second company as such. With Accacia, we are basically a sustainability back office, if you will, for real estate companies, right? So essentially, you'll see all over the world sustainability regulations as they pertain to either operations of buildings or green construction. They're evolving very rapidly. Uh, on one hand, the regulations are evolving, and on the other hand, there's a lot of innovation that's happening in terms of green construction materials, new sort of recycled materials coming in, new sort of energy optimization devices coming in. So we basically, as a company, kind of take on the sustainability role within your real estate company. So essentially, two parts to the business. One, we have a software business where we have a software that helps you automate all your ESG, sustainability, carbon emissions, data tracking, and reporting. Be it any framework that you're talking about, whether you're talking of local frameworks like BRSR, or in New York, you're talking of New York Local Law 97, or you're talking of global frameworks like GRESB, CDP, GRI, right? So you're basically automating all of that. Uh, then we have a solutions part to the business, which is where we recommend and provide you solutions that can help you make your building operations as well as construction greener and more sustainable. So that's basically what we do. We've been around for about 3 years now. Well, time flies soon. So we are working with developers and asset managers across the world. In India, we are working with some large names like your Tata Realty, Hines, Signature Global, some of the real market leaders in the country. Um, and similarly, working with key real estate developers, asset managers around the world.
Fantastic. You mentioned to me that you have offices here in Delhi, but also in Bangalore, Singapore, New York. So it's a very interesting organization, and some of those, some of our members from Europe, especially, sometimes they ask me how much sustainability is really important in the Indian real
Mm,
estate market.
mm.
Can you answer this question?
Uh, yes, so the importance of sustainability, I think traditionally we have looked at sustainability as a regulatory requirement,
Yes.
right? That's what, if you see most countries, be it India, US, most countries have sort of had this perspective. But I think what's changing now is that increasingly companies are looking at sustainability not just as a reporting checkbox in their business operations, but it's looking at it as a risk management um, m- you know parameter in the business, which means that if you are not making your building operations more efficient, if you're not making your energy consumption more efficient, you're not building greener, you're not essentially future proof in your assets. Until 5 years ago, we were basically talking about green premiums on sustainability. But I think that conversation has now changed from being able to command green premiums to being able to avoid brown discounts, which means that if you have to future proof your assets, when you build an asset, a commercial asset, you're not building for 5, 10 years, you're building for 50, 100 years, right? At least 50.
Yes.
From that perspective, you sort of need to look at how do you future proof these assets, which is where building greener sort of becomes really important. And given that in Asia, most of the new construction of the world is happening, at least 50, 60% plus, uh, the genesis of building net zero, building green, is, I think Asia is going to be the leader in that as such.
And how Akasha can help developers and asset managers in this aspect?
Yes, so in my past experience coming from real estate industry, basically the problem in implementing sustainability is twofold. One, the data that you need to gather for sustainability is coming from different business functions, right? And it's crazy amount of data that you need to do any form of sustainability reporting. Automating that to be able to reduce errors, to be able to reduce man-hour inputs is, and then also to be able to make it actionable is super critical, which is where we have built a technology platform that helps you automate that entire data tracking. We can integrate with your BMS systems, with your utility service providers, with different ERPs that you're using in your business, reduce your errors by 90%, reduce your man hours by 70-80%, and essentially automate all of that. So, along with sustainability, digital adoption, I think in real estate, at least in this part of the world, has really lagged behind and now it's picking up. So, for most companies, we are kind of coming in as the first sustainability partner and automating it from day one, right? The other key problem that comes to sustainability is basically technology in terms of whether it's new material sciences, equipments, devices is evolving so rapidly that discovery and fitment, feasibility assessment, and then execution of that is usually a very big challenge because sustainability teams are still very small. You have a 1 to 5 people sustainability teams, and they're dealing with both reporting as well as evaluating what solutions to implement. So we come in as an expert that tells you what's the latest and greatest in terms of alternate materials, in terms of technology that's there in the market. We bring in that technology and help you really understand what works best in your building scenario and how much bang for your buck can it really give you in terms of savings in carbon emissions or savings in energy consumption as such. So essentially, we take up your entire sustainability function as a consolidating reporting to reduction as a one-stop solution.
When it comes to sustainability, when you talk to local developers here in India or asset managers, do you feel that this concept is already very solid amongst everyone, or you still have to convince some of them that
Hmm.
this is very important?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think especially in India, you'll be surprised. We work with global companies, and I can tell you some of our clients in India are more knowledgeable about their scope 3 emissions than some of the market leaders you'll find in North America.
Interesting.
So at least the market leaders, the top of the pyramid, is kind of very well versed. They've been sort of looking at different reporting, tracking different metrics. They've been building green for some time. But yeah, the mid segment is sort of still catching up, right? So we work with both kind of clients. We have the more advanced ones who've been sort of doing their reporting for many years, like Tata Realty, right? They are kind of advanced. They've been doing their reporting. They now want to graduate to a level where they want to automate and provide more solutions to improve their sustainability metrics, right? So that's where we come in. Then we also work with clients who are basically sort of this is going to be their first sustainability reporting,
Mm.
right? So we come in from day one and automate that entire process so it becomes easy breezy from the get go.
Anu, final question. There are other companies doing similar job in different parts of the world. What makes Akasha different? What is the
Yeah.
the key differential? Is it technology? Is the way you have set up the business? Artificial intelligence? What can you
Yeah.
tell us?
Yeah, that's a good question. So there are a lot of companies doing this in Europe, right? Because Europe is, I think, way more advanced in terms of sustainability than most parts of the world. There are few companies in North America which kind of focus on just ESG reporting, right? But with the change in regulations, what is happening is uh, companies are not just looking at ESG because ESG metrics tend to be a lot more qualitative. They have been looking at more deeper carbon emissions, going to embodied carbon, operational carbon separately, and then how to reduce on the carbon emissions, right? So our tool kind of goes from elementary ESG to detailed carbon emissions reporting up to embodied carbon. In Asia, as such, we've not had any company kind of focused on real estate as such to do either ESG or carbon emissions tracking. So that's one differentiator, that our tool is way more comprehensive as such, right? In addition to that, I think from a green construction perspective, given that almost majority of world's construction material is exported from Asia, right? We are close to the supply chain. So we know what's the latest and greatest that's happening in terms of manufacturing of new types of materials. So being closer to the supply chain kind of really gives us an advantage on that front.
Annu, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure.
which has happened mainly coming from